In this video, I'm going to show you the new cluster analysis panel. So I've uploaded a dataset with 2,000 rows, 37 columns, and it's all about using AI and how you use AI. Down here in the cluster analysis panel, just below the bivariate statistics tests, there are lots of settings. Let me walk you through them briefly. And then there are going to be a lot of diagnostics and many nuanced terms and metrics and thresholds. I'm not going to walk you through all of them in detail. You can just hover over anything you want and it will tell you what it is. And for now, I'm going to turn off those hints so that they don't get in the way of the user interface. So we have different methods. We have the two-step, the k-means, and the hierarchical. If you want to know which one is best for you, again, look at the hints, which will tell you right here which one is best for which situations. I'm going to turn that off again. And I'm just going to use two-step, which is a good default. However many clusters you want to detect, you can do automatically or do a fixed number. If you do it automatically, just be warned that it will often default to 2. 2 is an easy clustering option for cluster algorithms because there's high and low. Sometimes it'll do 3 with high, medium, and low, but if you want it to prefer a higher number of clusters, more than 3, select this option. I'm going to uncheck this because I know this data, and I know that I want 3 clusters. So I will select fixed and then change this to 3. Don't worry for now about scale and starts. And this one says it'll compare up to 8 different solutions. I don't need 8, I'm going to do 5. That will run a little bit faster. And then there's an option here for suppressing deviant rows. Use this with caution. It just helps separate your clusters a little bit better. But you need a good reason to do it. Down here we have our variable list with filters for variable types and a button to run the analysis. Let's see. I'm going to select a few variables here. How about AI contribution, answer seeking, delegation, error detection, human contribution, and iteration. This is about how they use the AI. It's about that interaction experience. Well, once I have variables selected, run the analysis. It will run up here, and when it's done, which shouldn't take too long, unless you've selected a large number of variables or a large number of clusters, or have a very large sample size, you can see there are quite a few pieces of output. First off, it came out with 3 clusters because we told it to. And the average silhouette is 0.3. Higher is better. We can go over here to diagnostics to see more about this. You can see down here, based on the silhouette, 2 clusters is the preferred number. Based on the Davies-Boulden, 3 is the preferred. Lower is better with Davies. And then just looking at this, you can see the value gained by adding clusters. So a bigger drop means more value gained by adding that cluster. Going from 2 to 3, pretty big drop. 3 to 4, not so big a drop. 4 to 5, very little drop. And so we're not gaining a lot by adding more clusters after 3. Over here, in profiles, I find this very useful. So this is a radar map that shows for each cluster how they perform. You can see with cluster 3, we have a group of users who tend to delegate decisions to the AI, just focus on getting answers from the AI, and the AI contribution is very high relative to the human contribution. You can see right here, the human contribution is very low. The human doesn't look for errors in their reasoning, and they don't iterate very much. This is a get in, get out, get an answer kind of cluster. Then you have the blue cluster, cluster 1, which is essentially the opposite. There's a lot of human contribution, a lot of error detection, and a lot of iterating, but not much contribution from the AI, not much answer seeking as a default, and not much delegation. For cluster 2, it's fairly balanced across all. So I think I'll name these down here. Cluster 1, the blue one, is human-driven. Cluster 2 is balanced. And cluster 3 is AI-driven. You can see each of these separate down here. You can also see it in a table. Of course, everything is copyable and pastable into a Word document. I'll just show you what this looks like when we copy it. And paste. There we go. That's what it looks like in a Word document. I'll go back. There's lots more to see. There are visuals. This is just a heat map that shows you which variables make each cluster distinctive. You will notice on each of these tabs I have guiding questions with interpretation for each thing that has evidence. This is the silhouette distribution. Bars on the right mean good fit, meaning the row fits in the cluster. And then on the left means it doesn't fit, and you can see down here we fit pretty well. There are just a few on the opposite side. And then down here we have a relationship tree where we see that human-driven and balanced are more closely related than they are to AI-driven. And there's more up here. We can compare and essentially do ANOVAs on any variable in our data set based on these clusters. So right now it's showing retention, that's learning retention, at time 3. And it looks like AI-driven has the lowest learning retention. Let's take a look at another one. Ooh, satisfaction. Satisfaction's fairly consistent. How about transfer performance? Ooh, looks like when the human is asked to do a similar task later without an AI, those who have the human-driven approach or the balanced approach do much better than those with the AI-driven approach. Interesting. We also see the ANOVA down here. Here are the group means with the confidence intervals, but also a complete ANOVA table for every comparison across cluster. So these are all of the variables in our data set, and the ANOVA across those 3 clusters, and their p-value and Hom-Bonferroni corrected p-value for family-wise error, and effect size, and interpretation here, with the highest and lowest mean for each one. Very cool. Couple more here. There's a map. This is fun. We can see how each cluster sits within each component. You can see there's a little bit of overlap between balanced and human-driven. We saw this in the family tree as well. And we can switch this from 1 to 2. And we can just explore this a little bit to see how these clusters are related. Ooh, not a lot of separation when you look at component 4 and 5, but look at the percents. It's very low representation. So there's going to be noise. You'll often do best looking at 1 and 2. And then, up in assignments, we see which cluster was assigned to which row. And it's only going to load the first 50. If you want to load more, it will warn you if there's a lot, because it's going to load all of them. I mean, and it will load, like, it's just HTML. So it loads, it's just a lot here. So, just be warned, you have been warned. Lastly, we have the R syntax, which is how you would produce this kind of 2-step cluster analysis in R. Now in R, it won't produce all these pretty visuals and interpretations, but it will run the analysis. So that is a quick look at cluster analysis in SEMwise. I didn't show you k-means or hierarchical, or many of these other options. Feel free to explore.